Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett is here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. Now, this particular tutorial is to do with the web design component for the ICT Cambridge 0417 examination, and in particular I'm going to be using the June 2021 paper 3.1. Now, some of the key points I'll be covering in this tutorial are going to be these ones here: making those images fit in the table cells and maintaining the aspect ratio, so we get those images to take 100% of the width of a particular cell. And we're also going to be looking at style sheets and efficient programming techniques in style sheets. Essentially, I'm going to be solving the entire web design component of this paper. A very useful resource for you guys, so let's get started. Now I'm going to read this carefully. You're going to create a web page and style sheet for Bali Holiday Homes. The web page and style sheet must work in any browser. All color codes except those provided in the source files must be in hexadecimal. So that's my first one, hexadecimal. Right. Make sure that your style sheet contains no HTML. Make your HTML and style sheet as efficient as possible. So this basically really means when we're going to be doing the CSS code, we want to use efficient programming techniques. Create a new folder called BHH. Locate the following files and store them in your BHH folder. Display the contents of the BHH folder showing the folder name, all the file names and file extensions, image dimensions and file sizes. So we want to do this piece now. So that's the entire section there. So let's go to my folder. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this BHH. Enter. I'm going to zoom out so I can make this just easier to select my files as a list. And I'm going to select all the files it told me to use. So that's going to be all of these. And is that it? Let's just have a look. I think that's what I'm just going to drag these in my BHH folder. I also need that one there, the logo. Just going to do a quick count. I need the text as well. Okay. Everything in there. Yep. So I'm just going to do Control X and put that in there as well. So I'm just going to count how many files. Okay, replace that. I'm going to count how many files I've got. So I've got in here 10 items. And if I have a look here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items. Perfect. So I need to go and take a screenshot of this showing the dimensions and the file names. I think the best one is going to be always content. The reason why, because the content view always gives you the dimensions of the pictures as well. I can see my extensions and I can see my file name at the top. I'm just going to collapse my Explorer tree here. They don't need to see the other files that I've got. And I'm going to take a quick screenshot of that. So here's my snipping tool. And I'm just going to take a screenshot, making sure that here I can see the file name, BHH, and these are the contents and everything there. So I'm just going to go now to my, here, that's evidence 1. And just paste that there. There you go. Now, again, I'm using dark mode. Please don't use dark mode. It doesn't print well. I just forgot to go change the settings on my computer again, so do not use dark mode. Okay, let's move on so that I can get rid of that and minimize that. Next part. So I've done section 1. Let's go to section 2. So here is where I want to read my paper just a little bit more carefully. I want to read all of this section 2 here, just to get a good understanding. In fact, I'm going to go through all of this so I can get a good idea of what it is that I have to do. So create in your BHH folder a web page called this. The web page must be created using a single table and must work in all browsers. The table must fit 80% of the browser window. The table must have a structure as shown in the diagram. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this structure first. So let's do that. I'm going to go to here. Now, we use Dreamweaver. Obviously, you don't have to use Dreamweaver, whatever software that you're using. But my video is going to be focused on what I use with my students. So this is going to be Dreamweaver. I'm going to create a new file, new HTML file. And straight away, what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this in the folder where I have all my other files. This is absolutely vital. So straight away, File, Save As. Go to the folder, that one there, PHH, and I'm going to call this bhh.html. bhh.htm. Okay, and there we go. There's my file name, and it's in the folder where all the other files are, and that's absolutely crucial. I'm going to click inside here so it places my insertion point in the body tag down here, and I'm going to go to Insert Table, and I'm going to create a table here which is going to be 5 columns. You can see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 rows. So 5 columns, so 4 rows, 5 columns. The table width is 80%. You need to make sure this is correct. Now, I don't know anything about borders. Let's go have a look and see what it says about borders. Each table cell is identified with a letter. Some dimensions are shown. These must be set as percentage values and not pixels. That's really important. The cell contents shown in the diagram must not appear in your final web page. Table borders must not appear. Now, I'm going to leave my borders for now. In fact, let's just go back. Let's just remove the borders. I'm just going to go to put that to borders to 0. I usually leave them and work on them at the end, but you may forget, so let's just get rid of that for now. You get the dotted or the ant lines here showing you where the cells are, so that's okay. So next step is I'm going to create my table to look like this. So the first 5 columns are merged, then the last column is merged down here, and I've got 3 merged cells down here for K. Okay, so I'm just going to do that quickly. So I'm going to select these cells here. Now, a number of ways you can merge. You can either just right click and then you can go to your table and merge cells. I'm going to select these ones now. I'm going to use the merge cell button down here in the corner. It's just easier for me. And then I'm going to merge these 3 cells here. Now, notice I haven't done anything with the sizing yet. I've just created the structure. Okay, so let's go back to the paper. Now, I need to set these dimensions here as percentages. So the first one is this cell here. I'm just going to bring that like this. Okay, I'm going to click on this cell, and that's going to highlight in the code area over here the TD for this division here. Now, I want to add the height. Now, the easiest way, if you can't remember the code, if I just adjust the height of this cell just manually, just a little bit, it's going to automatically, you can see here, it's now giving me a height here. Okay, now I can just simply change that value from 52 to whatever it says, 20%. You have to put that percentage sign. Now, you can put the percentage sign in quotes or out of quotes. It makes no difference. So that's good. Now, it only said 20% high, so I'm not going to put anything for the width. I'm only going to change what it tells me. So the next ones, it's got here, the B is going to be 20% width, 20% height, and the rest of these I'm only adjusting the width. So I'm going to change that to 20% there. Okay, now this one here, it only wants the width to be 20%. So I'm going to change that to 20. And I'm just going to get rid of, if I had the height here as well, I will get rid of it. I don't need the height because it doesn't ask for it. It's going to take the height from that first TD anyway. And we can see here 20, 20, that's correct. Now, this one here, it wants to be 40%. So I can either just copy the width here, or I can just simply type it in after the TD. I don't want to mess around with playing with the width. It might adjust everything else. So I'm just going to type width equals to, I'm going to put this in quotes because the rest are in quotes as well, 40%, and close the quotes. Okay, and that's it. Set the title of the web page to that. So I'm just going to get rid of my highlights so I can copy that. Set the name of the default target window to _self. Now, this is a new one, and you know, many students don't know or haven't been taught, and even if you have, trying to set this here is something that you have to recall and remember. But remember, this is only one mark, so don't waste any time on this. If if you just can't remember the code. So let's go and do this part here first, the title. So my title here, we can see in my code up here, here's the title already. And it says untitled document. So I'm just going to delete that and just put the title it tells me, because it's going to be the title for this page. There it is there. Now for the underscore self for the target, the command is actually a tag. It's the base tag, and we're going to put target equals, and we're going to put on speech marks underscore self. Okay, and then we just close that chevron there. Okay, so that's essentially the code. Okay, and as I said, if you can't remember that, that's just a mark. Don't sweat about it too much. Okay, let's go back to the question paper. Right, place in cell. Now, here's where we're going to start adding some images. It doesn't say anything about alternative text for the images. And I just want to read this section down here until it changes. So it comes out of the section of pictures. So I'm going to be placing these pictures in the cells. Then it says place inline style attributes into the HTML so that each image, so this is to do with the image again, fits the width of the table cell. Now this is important because it means I'm only concerned about putting the picture to fit the width of the table cell, and the aspect ratio is maintained. Add appropriate alternative or alternate text to all images. Okay. Place in cell G the text compact, inherit larger, secluded, and with a view. Apply H2 to all this text. Place in K, right, so this is not part of the text because K is down here, a part of the images. So let's begin with this. Now, the really important thing when you're adding images in a web page is do not try to adjust the images just to make them fit and make it look good. Just add all your images, follow the commands, and it should end up looking okay. So let's begin. In A, I'm going to put the logo. So I'm going to click inside here. I know where A is because I've got the letters here. There they are. So let's go up to our paper. So in A, I'm going to click in that cell there. And I want J2131 logo. So I'm just going to go to Insert, Image. And because I've got my page saved in the same folder, I can see it brings everything up straight away. J213 logo, there it is there. And look at that, that is massive. Now, here's where students start panicking now. They say, wow, what's happened? And they start adjusting the size of that image to make it look small. Leave it there. Let's just add everything else. So in B, I want J2131, BHH1. So I'm just going to scroll down here. This is B. I think it's the other cell. Just have a look. So it actually goes to... right, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. So in B, I'm going to want to add BBH1. Insert, image, BBH1. That's another massive picture. I'm going to scroll to the right to go to C. So this is going to be the one next to it. Click in here. Insert, image. That's going to be BBH2. This one here, insert image, BBH3. This one is going to be insert image, BBH4. And then the last one, it says it's going to be the jungle one. That's the one with the merged cells across the roses. Insert image, the jungle picture here. Okay, and we can see that is just scary. That the pictures are so big here, I can't see anything on my table. But don't panic. Let's just move on and see how this works out. So I've added the pictures and I haven't modified them. Then it says place inline style attributes into the HTML so that each image fits the width of the table cell. So that's where I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go back to my paper here. I'm going to show you how you're going to do this very easily. So here is my first row at the top. This is where my logo is. And if I just scroll all the way to the top and I click inside here, you can see it selects that picture. So here's my first row here. We said that the height is 20%. Now what I want to do, I want to make here where it's got the image, I want the width of this image to fit the entire contents or the area of that cell. So I'm going to get rid of the height. I don't care about the height because I want the height to be adjusted automatically so that the aspect ratio is maintained. I'm going to click on the width and I'm going to change that to 100%. Now 100% means get the picture to take 100% of the size of that containing TD. So if the TD is this big, it's going to stretch it and make the picture this big, wide. If it's this big, then it's going to make the width of that picture 100% of that TD, making it so wide. Next one, I'm going to do this for all my pictures because it said do this for all the pictures and adjust the width. So that's going to be 100% and get rid of the height. And the same here. And get rid of the, make that 100%. And here, 100%, get rid of the height. It's a bit tedious, but take your time, especially if you know what you're doing. Make sure you get it right. You don't want to lose marks for this. You just want to make sure you do this right first time round. Otherwise, you'll have to do most of it all over again. So now that I've done that and I put my pictures, when I go back to my design view over here, it should now, when I click over it, look at that. Wow, can you see that? Automatically, my pictures have adjusted to the size of those cells, the width of those cells. And if I change the size of a cell or the table like this, have a look. If I make the window, which is the width of this window here, bigger or smaller, you're going to see, can you see how my web page changes? If I make it smaller, you can see that the pictures are automatically adjusted. The table adjusts to 80% of the window width. The TDs, those cells, adjust to 20% of the table, and the pictures take 100% of the width of the TD. And that's what this is all about. Okay, let's go round to our question paper. So that worked out really well. Add appropriate alternate text to all images. Now, this looks a bit confusing because it's kind of hard to figure out what these are. But if we read, so if you have a look at these pictures here, I'm trying to understand what these are here is a little bit tricky. So let's just read ahead. And it says here, place in cell G text compact. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So I'm just going to paste that there. And then in the other one, it wants larger. Don't worry if things start changing around. Just be patient with it. And then you want here scheduled, secluded. And then with a view. Just make sure you put small letters, capital letters as they're displayed. And apply style H2 to all this text. So I'm just going to select all this text and go down here where it says format and put it to H2. Now, I'm going to say that these are labels for the pictures here. So for the alternative text for this one, that looks like a house there. So I'm just going to go down to the alternate text at the bottom. And I'm going to say compact house. Remember, these are Bali holiday homes. So you could say compact house or compact home. I'm going to click on this picture. I'm going to say this is a larger house. This is going to be a secluded house. And this one is view from a window. From a window. And I'm just going to say, I don't know, this is like a jungle picture. Since the name of the file, or since the name of this image was jungle, I'm just going to say, I don't know, picture of a jungle. Picture of jungle in Bali. Okay, so let's just move on. We're on number 9 now. Place in cell K the contents of J2132 text. Okay, apply paragraph style to this text. So let's go here. We're going to go to, I'm just going to open my files, J2131 text. I'm going to select that to open it. It's open here, Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to go back, click inside K here, and press Control V. And there's my text there. And you can see I've got that extra enter down here. I'm just going to press backspace, take that out. It's not needed. You won't lose marks, but just to make it look neat. Apply the paragraph style. So I'm just going to select all of that. And I'm going to put the format to P, paragraph. Okay, that's that. Enter in cell L the text last edited by. Okay, so go back. In here, I'm going to put that. And then it says on the new line, place your name, center number, and candidate number. So I'm just going to press Shift and Enter here. That gives me a soft break. It doesn't really say whether it's a hard break or soft break. It says a new line. It doesn't say a new paragraph. Now, the difference is this. If I press just Enter and we look at our code here, it gives me a P. Okay, so if I just select that, let me just click here and press Enter now, you can see that's going to give me a new paragraph. Undo. If I simply hold the Shift and Enter, that's going to give me down here a break. Okay, so I'm still within the same paragraph. I'm simply putting it on the next line. So from here, I'm just going to type my name. All right, where are we? So Shift and Enter. Right, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are my details. And then it says on the new line below this, enter the text. So I'm going to press Shift and Enter again. Actually, it's got it like a title. So I'm just going to press break. I don't think it really matters, but we'll have a look at the mark sheet. I'll press Shift and Enter for now. And it wants me to write contact BHHH. So let's do that. Contact BHHH. Okay, now, since this is off another line, I'm gonna prefer to press a break there. So I'm gonna press delete, bring that back up, and then press enter to make it a new line or new paragraph. Okay, apply style 3 to all text in cell L. So I'm just gonna select all that, and I'm going to give H3 to that. So I haven't done this paper before, so you can, oh, I've put an extra H there. You can see I'm going through the thought process that students will go through, and you know, decide, am I putting a soft break? Am I putting a normal break? A paragraph break? I'm just making it look the way I think it looks more decent, but following the instructions there. Okay, create a hyperlink from the text contact to open the web page. So we want to open this web page here. So that's in our folder in a new browser window called _blank. Okay, so I'm going to select this text. I'm going to go down to my link down here. I'm going to click on the folder and I want J21321 contact. This one here. Okay, and for the target, I'm going to put _blank. And that's that. So let's now go down here. Attach the style sheet J2131BHH to this web page. So I'm going to go over here. Now I attach the style sheet this way. Other people got different ways. This is the way that I show. Just click on the class down here at the bottom, attach a style sheet, browse, and find the style sheet. So the style sheet is going to be this one here. And click OK. Okay, automatically we can see that the text has probably been changed to white font, which is why it's not visible here now. That's due to the properties which have been set in this CSS style sheet. So let's move on. Okay, it says open and edit the style sheet, this one here, the one that we just applied, to meet the following specifications. So let's just read through this very quickly. First of all, we need to set the background for the web page so that it has a color with blue, red, and green components. So we need to do the red component first, then the green, and then the blue. So that's going to be a hexadecimal number of 212F36. Remember, always red, green, then blue. Set the background for the web page so that the image. So we're also adding an image in the background as well. and is placed only the top left corner of the window. So that basically means it's not going to repeat and it needs to be on the top left. Set the font styles H1, H2, and H3 and the paragraph style, so that's going to be the P style, okay, so that the browser selects and displays the font San Francisco. If this is not available, then the browser selects and displays the font Calibri. And if neither of these are available, then it's going to select the font, the default font, the sans serif font. Okay, so that's going to be part of the font styles. Set the paragraph style so that the text is fully justified with a 12-point font. So we need fully justified 12-point for the paragraph. That's going to be the P tag. Right align, that's interesting. Right align all tables in the browser. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because if we're putting this picture up here in the top left corner and the table's on the top left corner as well, it's going to be on top of it. So they want the table to come on the right side and that picture, the background picture, on the left. Okay, just quickly read through the rest of this. Add your name center number as a comment, candidate number as a comment end of the style sheet. Okay. All color codes must be displayed in hexadecimal, right? Noted. Make sure that your style sheet contains no HTML or scripting language. Save this style sheet in your BHH folder. Take a screenshot, not copy paste the text, a screenshot to show the file name and all the contents of your style sheet. Okay, so I'm going to do all of this now in step by step. So the first thing is I'm going to open up my style sheet. So I'm just going to go to File, Open, and here's my style sheet, and I've got this open now. So, and then it wants me to set the background color with those components that we saw. In fact, I can just take a screenshot of this and just bring that as an overlay here, so we've got a copy of that just coming and going easily here. Okay, so let me just adjust that there, and I'll adjust the size of this window as well, as it doesn't really make a difference. There we go. Okay, so we can see everything that's really going on now. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on my selectors. So I'm in the CSS designer. Here it's got selectors. I'm going to add a selector, and I want to add the body tag. Press enter and enter. There's my body tag. And I want to now go in the category section here. So I could just find it quickly for the background. I'm going to change the background color, and I'm going to set that color. Don't remove that hashtag because that actually means it's a hexadecimal number. So the red component is 21, the green is 2F, and the blue is 36. I'm going to press enter. Now, whenever you make a change, it's always good to see that change being applied to your web page. So I'm just going to do Control S to save. I'm going to go to my web page here, and you can see that the color has already changed. In fact, the way I prefer viewing these things, I'm going to open my HTML file and view it in the browser. So every time I do something, I'm just going to refresh it. Let's just have a look. Has that been saved? Nope. You see, I haven't saved that yet. So, so save the web page as well. Control S. And now when I go to here, I should be able to see my page with, there we go. Okay. And that's what I'm going to be viewing. And every time I make a change, I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, so the next part is, going back to CSS, set the background for the web page so that the image do2131bg is placed only at the top left corner. So again, while I'm in the body tag here, I'm going to go again to my background. Here I'm going to go to where it says background image, click on the folder, and I'm going to find the file that ends in BG, this one here. Double click on that, and that added the picture. Now, I'm going to click here where it's got background repeat to no repeat. Okay, because I only want it to be placed. In fact, why don't I get rid of that so you can just see what that looks like if I don't do that. Control S to save. Let's go have a look here. When I refresh this, you can see it's repeating that image horizontally and vertically. So let's just go and remove that. So from my image here, background, I want no repeat. And I'm also going to put the top left as well, because it only wants it in the top left corner. So background position, I'm going to click on the percentage sign here and say left. And on the other percentage sign, I'm going to say top. And if we look over here, it's saying the background position is left top. Control S to save, and let's go preview our page. There we go. And we can see that the picture in the background is actually on the top left corner, but my table is also in the left hand side. So it makes sense when they ask us to move it to the right hand side afterwards. Okay, next part says to do H1. Actually, I'm just going to bring that back again. There we go. So we want H1, 2, 3, and the paragraph style to be San Francisco. Okay, or the default sans serif font. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to add another selector. I'm going to put the H1 tag. I know the H1 tag is already there. We can, well, actually it's not, but even if it was, I need to create a new tag right now because I'm going to group these tags together. But it's going to be H1, comma, H2, comma, H3, comma, P, because it wants this tag to be available for all of these heading styles and paragraph. I'm going to come over to this side here where the properties are. I'm going to go to my text, choose the font family. I'm just going to choose one that ends in sans serif just to make it easier for me. This one here is good. And just to have a quick look in case I've forgotten, I can see, for example, this text font here, Gotham, does not have speech marks. Helvetica New does, because it has a space in the name. So that just gives me a quick reminder that if the font style has got a space, I need to put speech marks. So I'm just going to delete everything from here, from these styles here, up to sans serif. Leave that comma there as well. And I'm going to type the fonts that it gives me. So San Francisco. Okay. Oh, I've typed that wrong. San Francisco. And because it has a space, I need to put this in speech marks. Either side. Okay. And then if it's not San Francisco, then I'm going to put comma. It's going to be Calibri. Calibri. Now, Calibri doesn't need speech marks because it's only one word, doesn't have a space. And if it's not Calibri either, then it's going to be the default sans serif font, and that's already there for me. So that's perfect. This is known as efficient programming techniques because instead of writing this for H1, then H2, then H3, and the paragraph, we group them together. Okay, the next part says set the paragraph style so that the text is fully justified with a 12-point font. Now, if I have a look here, I've already got the P tag. So there's no point creating another P tag. I'm just going to modify this P tag. So I'm going to click inside this property here, go to my properties. I can see from here that my text here is already white because that was already done for me. But what I want to do now is to make sure this is justified. So here's text align justify. And the font size is going to be 12 points, PT, not PX, PT. And I'm just going to change that to 12. Press enter. I'm going to do a quick save, Control S. Go have a look at my web page and make sure it all looks good. Right, perfect. Still looking good there. No errors. And let's move on. Now, it says here, right align all tables in the browser window. So I'm going to go to my table tag. It's up here. It's already here. There's no point creating another one. That will be bad programming techniques. So I'm just going to use this same tag. I'm going to go to my layout option now. And from the layout, I want to adjust the margin. So essentially, what I want from here is I've got this window. The table is taking up 80% of that window and it's sitting on the left-hand side. Well, it's actually, if I go, I'm opposite. So it's sitting on the left-hand side. Now, on the right-hand side, I've got that 20% gap. I want 0 gap on the right-hand side. So where I've got this here, the gap here on the right-hand side, this area here, I don't want that gap here. I want the gap over to the left. So I want 0 margin on the right. And the left-hand side, I just want it to automatically adjust and just use however much there is there. So as I adjust my window, that 20% margin gap will be on the left. So let's do that now. So for the margin, I'm going to go here. I'm going to put this to 0 pixels or points. And on the left, I'm going to adjust this, click on the PX, and I'm going to put it to automatic. Now that now should give me 0 gap on the right and all the gap that's available on the left. Let's do Control S and have a look. Now when I refresh my screen, there we go. Now as I adjust the size of my window, you can see that that 20% gap, although it's increasing and decreasing because my window size is increasing, this gap here, then the table stays on the right, but my background picture on the top left. So this is looking good. The only thing that I see here which is wrong, I've still got borders, although I put the borders to 0. So let's just go check our code. And if we look here, table, there you go, border is 1 pixel. I'm going to put that to 0. And I also want the internal grid lines, which is the TD. I'm going to turn that to 0 pixels as well. And Control S to save. And just do a quick refresh. There we go. Borders have gone. Okay. I need to add my name, center number, candidate number as a comment. So from my CSS code here, I'm just going to put, and if you can't remember how to do this in Dreamweaver, just go to File, New, CSS Code. And as soon as you can see here, it gives you this gray comment area here. It's a /* your comment // or just copy paste this over. It's entirely up to you. It's just one way to, if you can't remember that, the slash and the star, I'm going to copy that there and just replace the comment. So from here, I'm going to type my details. CY 127 12345. So we've done that. Right, so take a screenshot to show the file name and the contents of your style sheet. Right, so from here, I've got my file name at the top here, so that's absolutely fine. I'm going to take a screenshot, new, and I'm going to take a screenshot showing that. Go to my evidence document. I'm going to type evidence 2. Wow, that's a lot of work since I've done evidence 2, since I've put an evidence here. There we go. Paste that in there. Now, can you see that's gone to the next page? Fine. Either make this just a little bit smaller, but don't make it too small. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, which it doesn't for me, I'm just going to press enter and just bring this down to the next page, and that's fine. You know, the idea is for the examiner to be able to see clearly your code, especially if you're comfortable and confident with your work. Okay, next part. Right, display the web page in your browser. If necessary, resize it so that all the page can be seen, all the text can be easily read, the address bar is visible, the background image is fully visible. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the web page. Okay, so I'm going to go to my browser, and I've already been displaying this here. So I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit there. So it takes the whole height of the page. And I'm also going to adjust the width. Can you see, as I adjust the width, I can kind of fit my entire browser window there. There we go. Now, I don't want to make it too big, and I don't want to make it too small. Okay, so I want this to display the way it should. That's a pretty good size there. And what you don't want to do is this. You don't want to take a screenshot which only displays the content like this. That will get you 0 marks for this. The reason why, it's not showing that you're displaying this in your web browser. So you have to take the screenshot showing the title bar as well of your browser, so that it shows the URL section at the top up here. And now you can go put that in your evidence document. So I'm going to put that as evidence 3. I'm going to bring this down to the next page. It's not going to fit. And paste that there. Okay, and that's perfect. It's clear, it's big, the text is readable. Okay, let's go to the next part. Next one, display the HTML source in your editor. Okay, take a copy of the HTML source. Now, here it wants a copy of it. It's not asking for a screenshot. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go for evidence 4. Next page. Go to Dreamweaver. I'm going to go to my web page. I'm going to display the code, and I'm going to copy the entire code like this. So you just do Control A, Control C, Control C, I'm going to go to my Word document, Control V. And one thing I always ask my students to do is, you can see here it's got like double line spacing. Now, you're ICT students, so you've done paper 2 already. You should know how to play around with the line spacing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all of this, go all the way to the bottom, hold the Shift button and click here to select all of this text. Go to paragraph and just make the line after to 0. It just makes, it puts all of your code essentially on one page, making it, and if it doesn't put it on one page, it's not spreading it over numerous amounts of pages. So I'm just adjusting the margins there a little bit as well. There you go. And I've got everything here now on one page, and it's easier to read. Okay, I hope you found this tutorial interesting and useful. And as always, if you did, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. See you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.